I just got out of the theaters from witnessing Black Adam on the big screen, and I have some things that I want to talk about for this film, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the review. Let's go. What's going on, you guys? The Demigod back on Demigod to bring you another movie review for Black Adam 2022, a highly anticipated release this year out of DC, out of Warner Bros. And how did they do? You know, that's the big question, especially considering the Rotten Tomatoes score that dropped before this movie officially released in theaters for the audience, which ended up being, I believe, like a 54% or something. Maybe I'll have it up on screen right here, but I'm not gonna lie, that had me very worried going into this film. I've been looking forward to this movie since it was originally announced, and after seeing that score, I was like, oh no, are we about to get Morbius 2.0? Which you could check out my review for Morbius right here, by the way. But I'm happy to come to you guys and tell you guys that that was not the case, and that honestly, the critics got this one wrong. They really did. I enjoyed my time at the Black Adam film, and while it was not a perfect movie by any means, I have some interesting things to say about this film. So first things first, of course, this film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing Black Adam, or as this movie likes to refer to him throughout almost the entire thing, Death Adam, who happens to be seen as this hero from the past about 5,000 years ago in this location set for this movie, that being Khandaq, which I actually did like the location for this movie. I like what they did with the history, the background. It wasn't 100% solid, but I did like what they provided for the audience with that whole background there. Also, this movie co-stars some pretty exciting characters in here and a whole, you know, other superhero team, which almost seemed like a spin-off of the Justice League. I'm sure it exists in the comics. The Justice Society, I believe, is what they called it inside of this film, which happened to feature familiar faces and characters, and also some unfamiliar faces and characters such as Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, and Hawkman. Now, while some of those characters such as Dr. Fate and Atom Smasher were familiar to me, other characters like Hawkman and Cyclone were unfamiliar to me, and I gotta say, I do like what the movie did with them. I do like the way that they introduced them to the audience, showed us who their characters were. They're all very unique in their abilities and in their on-screen presence and the way their characters come across and their personalities, though the highlight of this team was 100% Dr. Fate. Man, he was fantastic inside of this movie, a brilliant character. I love the way that they portrayed him inside of this film. I like the actor playing him and what he did with the character inside of this film. And while the other three of the team took a while to warm up to me, I ended up by the end of this film appreciating what they did with these characters and how they presented them inside of this movie to the audience, especially the way Cyclone's powers were portrayed inside of here. I really enjoyed that. Atom Smasher was a bit new to the team. He's this, you know, young kid on the team, this rookie you can call him, who ends up making a lot of mistakes in this film. Probably my least favorite member of the team, but he wasn't bad in this film either, in my opinion. And of course, that leaves us with Hawkman. How did Hawkman do? At first, I'm like, yo, who is this guy, right? But again, by the end of the movie, I ended up appreciating his character a lot more inside of here. And while those are definitely the highlights of this film, there are other characters who get a lot of screen time inside of this movie, such as this mom and son inside of this movie. Now, I can't exactly remember their names. Honestly, they're quite forgettable, and honestly, they bogged down this movie quite a bit. They were one of my least favorite parts of this entire film. The mom, I don't think, was terrible. She had some redeemable qualities. However, she still felt unnecessary to the film, outside of her being the one who awakened Black Adam in the very beginning of this film and getting his character to be present throughout this film. I felt like after the awakening, they could have honestly tossed them to the side because everything else was much more interesting. And my main negative about this movie was that kid, man. Her son inside of this film was just so corny, so cringy. He's the reason for a lot of the cringe inside of this movie. Lame one-liners. I mean, we really could have done without him. I don't know why they included him as much as they did with inside this film. Completely unnecessary. Along with another negative I had in here, which happened to be, you know, the script of this film. At times, I really liked the script. I liked the direction we were headed in. At other times, I felt like, again, what are we doing here? Why are we with these characters? Let's get back to Black Adam and the superheroes and all the exciting stuff, because this is sort of lame. and unnecessary. But while it does bog down the movie, as I said before, I don't think it completely ruins the movie. There's tons of redeemable qualities here, and there's a lot to like inside of here. This is a very entertaining movie, tons of action from almost the very beginning. I mean, like, once you get 15 minutes into it, it's action, and then you end up getting a lot more of that up until, you know, the end of this film. So the villain inside of here, I don't want to ruin him. There's a lot of twists that happen with, you know, our main protagonist and antagonist inside of this film, so I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. I do want you to go out and see this movie and form your own opinion for yourself. But I gotta say, through a lot of this movie, again, he felt like someone who was a bit unnecessary. You know, you couldn't fully understand why he was here, why he was getting so much screen time, how he would even manage to go up against Black Adam, who, by the way, they did his power level perfectly inside of this film. He's just straight up OP. He's overpowered, and that's exactly how he should be. I'm glad that they didn't, you know, change that. But back to the antagonist, again, he felt unnecessary for a lot of here, but by the time you get to the end, I did like what they ended up doing with his character. This movie is chock full of surprises. I didn't expect a lot of what we got inside of here, things we didn't even get to see in the trailer that really brought more life to this film. And man, every time you think this movie is about to end, it just goes further and further, and honestly gets more exciting. And I loved what they just kept providing for us, man. I mean, they gave us a lot to chew on here, and I appreciate that, along with some cameos that ties this into the overall DCEU DC universe for these films. And I liked that connective tissue that was inside of here, especially that post-credit scene, which I'm not sure, I think it did go, you know, sort of viral, the news about it, but I'm not gonna say it in this video what it was. But I gotta tell you, I was extremely excited watching that post-credit scene. Definitely make sure to stick around for that if you go out to see this film. And another thing I wanted to mention for this film was the pace of this film. Now, while I mentioned, you know, it keeps going on and on and on at some scenes where you feel like it's going to end, I feel like the pacing was very well. While watching this film, I was never like, oh god, can it just be over? I didn't feel like it was dragging. I didn't feel bored at any times. This movie kept me entertained all the way up until the end of this film. I don't think The Rock was the best part of this film. I'd probably give that to Dr. Fate. Really enjoyed, really loved his character, but I did like what The Rock brought to this film and to the Black Adam character. He plays a very stoic and reserved version of this character, which, by the way, as they mentioned in the trailer, you know, he's not exactly a hero inside of here, which I did appreciate. He teeters more on the anti-hero role, sort of like a Deadpool, but man, he just straight up kills inside of this film. And we get some, you know, boundary pushing scenes with some of the stuff he does to people inside of this film. Some of the kill scenes we get inside of here, it was crazy, man. It really was. And with all that being said, guys, I want to go ahead and drop my rating for this film. I feel like I've covered everything that I wanted to say about this film. So with that being said, I give Black Adam 2022 a 7.5 out of 10. It gets a 7.5 out of 10. Some things that bring this movie down, some negatives. However, I think there's a lot of positives inside of here, and I think this is definitely worth the watch. I would recommend that you go out and see this movie and form your own opinion about it. I would recommend that you support this movie because I'd like to see what else they do with these characters and what else they do inside of this universe. And with that being said, guys, those are my thoughts on this film. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what I do on Demigod ENT, do commentaries, reactions, and reviews. So interested in that, the right place, man. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. I drop multiple videos a week on this channel, so you can expect out of me. And if you don't already know, I am the Demigod, the chosen one, here on Demigod ENT, and I'm out of this thing, man. I'll catch you on the next video. More reviews coming soon. Stay tuned. Peace.